Golden State Warriors now lost 7 of their last 9 games. They're about to drop into the 3 seed. And when I'm flummoxed and when I'm confused and when I want basketball answers, I always turn to one of the greatest players in the history of the game, one of the brightest minds in basketball, the legend himself, Rick Barry. How you doing, sir? You ready to do this?
Well, I'm ready. I don't know what you're reaching out to me for. Shit, if I had all the answers, I'd be betting on games and winning a fortune. As I told everybody, I wouldn't bet a nickel on an NBA basketball game. I've been there. I've seen it all over the years as a fan, as a broadcaster, and as a coach. I mean, you just don't know what. I said, always expect the unexpected in the NBA. And most teams, there's only been, I think, maybe one team, the one Bulls team and all, that never went through a situation where they struggled for a few weeks or more. I mean, it's very difficult to maintain a high level of performance for 80 something games. And the Warriors are obviously going through their tough time right now. I mean, when you lose a key player, that's a big factor. Draymond, everybody knows, is an important factor for the success of the Warriors. And, Clay missed a few games. So hopefully this will be their down moment of the season, and they'll get over it and get back to playing good ball going into the playoffs, because it's not how you're playing now that matters. It's how you're playing come playoff time.
There you go. And that's the Hall of Famer. We'll delve into that and so much more. That was a record setting cold open, and I love it. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can follow Hall of Famer Rick Barry on Twitter at Rick24Barry. In fact, on all social media platforms, follow him there. You can follow me on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. I'm using my computer mic today. Dieter, my broadcast partner for this venture for a few days a week, recommended it, so I'm giving it a try. Who cares about that? The point is, Rick, you're with me. I love it. You were just talking about the Warriors a moment ago. This slide has been extensive. Like the Warriors, to put it in perspective, on Christmas Day when they beat the Suns in Phoenix, were 27-6. Since then, I believe they are 16-14. That's 500 balls spanning multiple months. They'd lost 3 of 5 when Draymond was playing. Based on your observation skills, which I value tremendously, sir, what are you seeing that's wrong with this team? Like, why are things not the way they were spanning 2+ months now?
Yeah, well, I mean, as I say, in the opening, I mean, if you have key people who are out, especially somebody like Draymond, who just does so many different things. I mean, is there somebody on the Warriors bench that comes in and does the things that Draymond does? Probably not.
No.
And so that creates an issue. And then, of course, Steph went through his shooting slump until he got to the All-Star game and put on that amazing show that he put on. But so you have those kinds of factors. Recently Clay's missed a couple of games. He's still trying to get himself back after the extended period of time that he was away from the game, and thought that was coming along nicely. So these things happen. I'm not a worry wart. I mean, this is gonna happen. This is a good time for it to happen. Better now than happening
True.
in April, late April.
True. Yeah.
Get through this. Get yourself back together. Hopefully, get Wiseman back. That's coming closer and closer. For him to hopefully see what he's going to be able to do. Get Draymond healthy. Have Clay keep improving, and and they'll be fine. I mean, they know that they're capable of winning and playing well. They're just going through a very difficult time right now. But even then, as you mentioned, as poorly as things have been since the end of the year and the start of this new year, they're still playing over 500 basketball.
Yeah, but the standards are high, right? I mean, I'm sure the standards were.
The problem is that they set a high standard to begin with. I mean, they were surprised to play as well as they did, and so everybody expected that to go on. I mean, come on, this all of a sudden you don't go from the outhouse to the penthouse necessarily, that quickly. So I'm not.
Well, how about? Sorry.
Let's talk in the middle of April and let's see what's going on. That's more important than at this particular stage. It's crazy to worry. It's just not, makes no sense. I mean, things change so quickly. Another team gets hurt. I mean, just look at what's going on. Who would have thought that possibly the Nets and the Lakers would be in the playoff to get into the playoffs?
The playing game. Yeah. No, the Lakers are a disaster. That's always my that's always my feel good whenever I'm down about the Warriors. Yeah.
About the NBA is that stuff like this happens, especially nowadays. This stuff happens so frequently, and it just makes it interesting, I think, for the fans and for everybody, because you really can't figure it out. I mean, I'm just telling people, you're listening here, if you bet on NBA basketball games, God bless you, good luck to you. I mean, you got to be crazy to do that. I knew the game inside out, and I go and say, well, who should win this game? And the next thing you know, you think about that. Okay, when Boston went down and played, I think it was Boston played in Philly, or beating them in Philly by over 50 points in their building. I mean, that's embarrassing. And
Yeah, it is.
it's crazy, the stuff that happens sometimes in NBA basketball games. It really is insane. But I'm not concerned at this particular juncture. They've got plenty of time to, the old cliche, right the ship, because the ship is definitely floundering right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I want to point out a few things. So, and one thing, one of many things I love about you is you strive for greatness. You respect and understand just how special it is to reach the pendulum of whatever it is you're striving for and competing for, and it's not an easy thing to attain. And we saw greatness from this team early in the season, and we're not seeing it now. How much blame, like, do you believe in the philosophy of like blaming front offices for making decisions that seem very obvious? Like, I feel like the layman would look at this roster construction. You and I were saying the same thing at the beginning of the season, and it looks at it and goes, okay, this team is small. In basketball, you do need size. That's just the reality of things. Like I don't know. Should we be pointing a finger at anyone? Like, or are you saying just wait until April and then start pointing fingers, or don't point fingers at all? I don't know. What's your philosophy and all that?
Well, I mean, I say they've been a surprise. I mean, nobody expected them to be doing this with Wiseman out. I mean, this is a big surprise at the beginning of the season, and then other people were getting their acts together and starting to play well, and the Warriors, have been struggling since the first of the year. I mean, it's just one of those things that happens. I'm not overly concerned about it. I mean, if Wiseman comes back and is able to contribute and do the kind of things we'd like him to do, we talked about that before. It wasn't on this show, but we discussed it. It might have been on the Rick Barry show. We discussed what was going on. No, actually, it was you were on the guest show on one of the radio stations that I joined you on, and
the 95 in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about that. I mean, this is part of the season. This is part of what NBA basketball is generally all about. And so now it's just a matter of if the pieces come back healthy. And again, there's enough games to be able to get themselves together and start playing well again. And will they do it? Who the heck knows? I don't know. I mean, will the teams that are playing good, all of a sudden, Phoenix may all of a sudden hit a bad stretch late in the season and then get knocked out in the first round in the playoffs. You just don't know. An injury to a key player. That's why it just kills me. But, well, who do you like right now? Well, who the hell cares who you like right now? It doesn't matter. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, seriously, you deal with things as they come about. I mean, I can't get to the answer to it right now. I don't have the answer to it. You just have to wait and see. Let time see. What are you throwing up here? Look at these stats of Andrew Wiggins this season.
This is because Wiggins is one person I am pointing a finger at right now. And this stat during last night's game really stuck out to me. Before January 14th, his percentage of shots from beyond the arc were 37%. Since then, that's gone up to 44. Meaning he's throwing up more threes. His percentage of shots from mid-range, which is something he I don't know what you trust in terms of Wiggins' shot selection, but he was shooting from mid-range. 15% of his shots were from there. Now they're 25. His percentage of shots from the paint, where he's developed the post game, he was nearly half of his shots were in the paint before January 14th. Now it's 30%. Drastic drop off. And his points per game have dropped off from 18.6 when he was an all-star starter to 15.5, which we're seeing now. We haven't seen Wiggins hit the 20-point mark since January.
Okay, well, Cyrus. Let's throw that into the equation. That's another factor of why they're struggling. So they've got an all-star player who's with statistics like that that's showing you. That's just another negative thing that's happening with them right now, yet they're still playing 500 ball. And so they just have to get they got to get things back together again. I mean, it's obvious that Wiggins is not playing the same style of basketball that he played previously, where he was more productive. So he needs to go back. Here's the thing, like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? The old saying,
Great.
right? Okay.
Yes.
And
Love
he
that saying.
broken. So what is he doing? Why is he taking more 3-point? Hey, if he was doing that and scoring more points, great. But if you're not playing as well as you did before, go back to doing what you were doing before. That's a pretty simple fix right there.
Absolutely right. When we come back, Rick, I want to talk about a documentary you've been pushing for a long time, focused on your 1975 World Championship team, which many yourself consider to be was considered to be pulling off the greatest upset in history of sports, at least of the four
Well, that's
major
not
professional
always
sports.
say the major sports in the U.S. I mean, there's been a lot
All
of
right, fair enough.
happening around the world, but I mean, I've gone over it, and we'll talk about it when we come back.
Absolutely. And obviously, I want to pump up everything that's going on in your life. You are a legend server. First, let's quickly talk about a longtime sponsor of this show, BetOnline. Football might be over for the season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, betonline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage and information. And speaking of BetOnline.net, the Warriors play the Lakers tomorrow in LA, and they are favored by 5.5. The over-under is 224.5. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. It's betonline.ag and betonline.net, where the game starts. You
are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast, nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. He is the legend, a member of the NBA 75th anniversary team, a Hall of Famer, a Warriors legend, Rick Barry. You can follow him on Twitter and all social media platforms at Rick24Barry. Sir, you have been you've taken on like every role imaginable. In addition to your playing career, you coached. You're a media professional, having been a broadcaster on major networks and then some. You're an author, you're a published author. What are you working on now? Let's talk about this documentary. You've been pushing for this for a long time. It's focused on that 1975 team. When can we expect it? What's it going to entail? Take over, sir.
Well, I really don't have the details because actually Hopper, Charles Dudley, one of our backup guards on the championship team, got involved with doing some things. I mean, I wish we had communicated a little bit more because I had a whole bunch of people very, very interested in this, some really big name producers and directors and finance people and all. But, he got it going, and he had already started and done some interviews with Jamal and other people. And we're having a big thing coming up here tomorrow, actually, in Atlanta, to do something. Butch will be here, Butch Beard will be here, and Jeff Mullins will be here, Clifford will be here. We're going to be doing more interviews, and I just want the story to get out there. My whole thing about it is that I've always felt that my teammates have never been given the recognition they deserve for what we pulled off. Without question, the greatest upset in the history of NBA Finals. Nothing's even remotely close to it. The fact that there's never been a documentary about our team when they have documentaries about everything you can possibly imagine that's been out there, whatever it may have been. I mean, why this team? Why would you not have the greatest upset in the history of one of the major professional sports in here have a documentary have been done about it? I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. And for me, the way I was going to approach it was that it was going to be to tell the story of my teammates and what they did and how they came together, and Clifford Ray coming to the team and all. I'm hoping I'll find out more when I meet the people involved, when I do my interviews coming up, and try to talk to them a little bit, try to plant a little seed in their head as to what I would like to see happen. But this is Charles' project now. And hopefully they'll get that message out there, because it's not about me. I mean, I got plenty of recognition. I was MVP of the series and whatever. And, I have my ring, and which I have here, which is like the only ring I wear. And we'll see. But it's going to be great just to get the story out there so that there's some documentation of exactly what took place during that remarkable Cinderella type of season that we had.
Sorry, I was muted there. That's incredible. In your opinion, what do you think should be highlighted? Like, let's say this was going the direction you wanted, where you were hosting this documentary and steering it in your direction. Like, are there any players you feel like that should be given attention to more? Are there moments
Yes.
what do you think? What? Yeah, please go ahead.
Without question. I mean, I keep telling people the most important person on the championship team was not me. It was Clifford Ray.
Mhm.
Clifford Ray was the hub of the thing. He's the one that got guys together. He called a meeting with the team, without me even being there. I mean, and so I'm sure that story will get in there. But yeah, without Clifford, I don't think it all happens, to be honest with you. I mean, and, that's one of the reasons why we were not even picked to be a playoff team, because we traded a Hall of Fame center to get a young guy coming from Chicago who didn't have a big reputation. And then we had another center. We had the two-headed center monster, in George Johnson and Clifford Ray, the physical guy and the finesse guy. And there's so many things that happened with that. And then the moves made, picking up Bill Bridges late in the season. I mean, that was mainly for the Chicago series. And I mean, things were done properly. And we had the only other veteran guy of any significance that, had a good career, but was at the end of his career, was Jeff Mullins, who was a great contributor to the team. So yeah, and then Butch Beard. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't think we repeated. They traded Butch Beard away. I mean, this is crazy. After we won the championship, and our starting freaking point guard, and traded him away. And you just don't screw
money, right?
You don't screw up the chemistry of a team. A team successful, don't screw it up. Don't start trading off people and doing all kinds of crazy things. And I really think letting Butch go was nuts. And that's a story in and of itself. I mean, he wasn't let go because anything wrong that he did. I mean, the crazy part about it is just it's the general manager traded him because he couldn't stand dealing with his wife at the time.
That's right.
It's insane.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane.
And we had so many guys that did jobs. And, how many teams even have two rookies be such an integral part of a team's success winning a championship? I mean, we had Jamal, who was Rookie of the Year, and who was Keith at the time, Keith Wilkes, and then of course Phil Smith, who went on to have a really nice career, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. But he was a heck of a player. So yeah, we had a great chance of being back-to-back champions, and we let that slip through our fingers. That'll haunt me for the rest of my life. So.
Well, Rick, if you don't mind, man, I want to dispel a ridiculously ignorant myth that's still out there. And it's out there partly because Bill Simmons perpetuated it largely from the voice of the Phoenix Suns' current broadcaster. He's been doing that job for so long. He's still in it. And that is the rumor, and that's all this is. And I'd love for you to clarify this once and for all, that you got in a fight in a game, and your teammates allegedly did not come to your back, and you basically just grumped and were not happy, and that you stopped shooting the ball as a result of that. Please clarify to the world what really happened in that game and reveal the truth, please.
Well, if anybody believes that, then they have to be smoking dope or
a lot do. Still do. It's insane.
If anybody knows me, to think that I would go out and not play my best to try to get back to win another championship, they have to be crazy to think that I would do something of that nature. Plus, I saw something on I know it was YouTube or someplace else. They had video of the fight. Some of my teammates were coming over to do it. It was with Ricky Sobers.
I saw that too.
Was it Ricky Sobers? I mean, it wasn't like nobody was coming over to do anything. It had nothing to do with it. And it was such BS, the fact that I went in and looked at the video and saw that my teammates didn't come to me, and then I would pout it like a little child. Okay, well, fine, Dad, go do it by yourself. No, I mean, it's such a crock. I can't even believe that people made this up. And, Al McCoy, and so he's one of the guys that got that started. Oh, well, Rick Barry was fight, Bob.
Exactly.
Yes, it's such BS. The bottom line is we stopped playing and doing the things we should have. To be honest with you, my whole thing, and that's the next year. It's not the championship year. It was the second year after the first year.
Yeah.
I should have been the Bill Simmons quote dick that he called me, and I should have been and gone in the second half of that game and said, hey, give me the damn ball, because I wasn't getting the ball, okay? And I should have demanded the ball. If I had to do it over again, I would say, like Bird did at times, saying, hey, screw it, get me the ball. And I didn't do that. I kind of let us play. I tried to do it to get us back in there. We were doing too many things that weren't indicative of the way we normally would play. I tried to get us back in it. We were coming back. There was a pick and roll play with Clifford and I threw a ball to Clifford and I think somehow it got knocked loose or whatever. And Alvin Adams went down and got a dunk, and that kind of sealed the game for them. But we were making a comeback, had a chance to come back. I watched the highlights saying Rick Barry wouldn't do it. He wouldn't shoot the ball. I was making passes to my teammates who were open.
I saw that.
I mean,
I saw that. I've seen that video. I've seen that video. It's ridiculous.
It's unbelievable to me that somebody would think that I would do that. I mean, anyway,
Al
it is
McCoy
what it
did.
is.
And no, but this pisses me off a lot because Al McCoy was Bill Simmons' source for this. It's in his book. And I still don't understand why Al McCoy won't simply. I mean, people just revere him because for 50 years he's been the Suns broadcaster. This is gross misinformation that's been produced out there. And this was for Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals the following year, correct? In '76,
yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah, we lost in Game 7, but the rule was changed in that series, where the rule came in where you can't foul off the ball in the last 2 minutes because we had the game won in Phoenix. And I don't know why. What happened is a timeout was called. I was running back. They scored a basket. I was running back to get the ball. They would have had to foul me in the last minute. And if they foul me, I make the free throws, we're going to win because there is no 3-point shot at that time. So we call a timeout. And then during the timeout, to John McLeod's credit, he and Al Bianchi were the coaches, his assistant. We took the ball in bounds, and Derek Dickey threw it into me. And they fouled Derek off the ball out of bounds intentionally. And that's where the rule came in, that you can't intentionally foul off the ball in the last 2 minutes. And so, unfortunately, didn't make both of those free throws. They came down, and Keith Erickson, I think, shot and made whatever it is. And the next thing you know, we're down by 1, and we run a play at the end. And it was a play that Al had gotten up, and it was a play we ran a lot. And I could run off my man off of 3 different people and hopefully try to set up guy running them into three, maybe give these guys screeners. You know how I am about it. You don't set a screen. I create screens with my teammates. I was wide open. I was wide open, and the ball got passed in to Jamal, who was open in the corner as well. And Gar Hurd came out and got a finger on Jamal's shot, and we wound up losing in the game down in Phoenix, which made the difference in the series. So I mean, not that I remember these things very clearly. I mean, only that's how many years ago? That's like 45 years ago, and I can still.
I wasn't alive yet. This is 2 years before I was born, sir. You're absolutely right. I went in the first time I ever actually read that story. I went and saw the YouTube video. Your teammates did not look in any way like they were avoiding you. They didn't look like anything was wrong. Like when the fight happened, I saw your teammates come there. I saw no indication of what was eventually became McCoy's story, which then Bill Simmons picked up. It was asinine. Rick, I know. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, it's just insults. It's an insult to me. It's a total.
It is.
And I've never run into Bill Simmons or seen him at all. I don't think if I really want to, but if I do and everything, I'm going to just say, I hope you're going to apologize to me. I said, you owe me an apology. I said, how can you call me a dick in your book? You don't even know me. I mean, you're
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That is a violation of journalism ethics in every regard. Rick, I gotta real quick pump up some Built Bars here, and then we'll wrap things up with you. I finally got my shipment of Built Bars. Rick, I'm gonna send you some as well. These things are delicious, and they're full of protein. They're light on calories. They're light on sugar. They only have 4 grams of sugar per bar. Your average candy bar has 30. Only 4 net carbs, whereas candy bars has dozens of net carbs, yet each Built Bar has 17 grams of protein. Cookies and cream is my favorite flavor. Rick, what do you want me to send you? I'm going to send you some Built Bars.
Well, I try to take care of myself and try to eat relatively healthy. Everybody cheats now and then, which I do too. But I mean, so what flavors do they have? Because that sounds great. Low sugar, low carbs. That's awesome.
And it's covered in milk chocolate, and I'm a chocolate nut. Yeah. So here are the flavors. Here's what I can send you: mint brownie, coconut almond, which David Locke, the founder of this network, the radio play-by-play announcer for the Jazz, he loves those. And then cookies and cream is my personal favorite. Those are the 4 main ones. I can also done. I'll send that to you, and then next time you come on, if you want to talk about it, all the better.
Those would be great to have as a little snack or something in my pickleball bag when I'm playing in a tournament or something, There
you go, sir. And at Built Bar, they're all about the taste. Go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Again, LOCKED15 is a promo code for 15% off at Built.com.
Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. Rick Barry has his own podcast as well, The Rick Barry Show. If you just search Rick Barry on podcast platforms, it'll come right up, part of the Warriors 24 Podcast Network. Thank you so much for coming on with me, Rick. I want to real quick pump up a couple of companies that are endorsing you, and these are legitimately great products. You want to lead the way, sir, and I'll share the screens for the YouTube viewers.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Medicinal Leaf up in Santa Rosa area, it's a cannabinoid company, and we're sponsors for the Professional Pickleball Association. And I know the players there, boy, they come in and get stuff put on them before they play and just love it. Great, high quality. That's the biggest thing in the cannabinoid world, is to know the quality of the product you're going to get. And I've never found anything that has as much strength as they have. I mean, they've got one of their salves has 5,500 milligrams of various cannabinoids. It's not just CBD. Everybody hears about CBD. It's a cannabinoid company. There are over 130 cannabinoids in the plant. And so they're doing research to find and isolating them and finding out more and more things that can be done with the different cannabinoids. So I use this stuff on a daily basis. I love it. And you go to the website, medicaleaf.com, medicaleaf.com, and use the code 24. You get a nice discount on those products. As I say, I use them all the time. And then Go Sleeves, another Bay Area company down in the South Bay. Go Sleeves, SLEEVES.com. Put RB24 in the code. I've been trying to get stuff to do this, and I don't even know if they've done it. I saw Draymond. I left some stuff off with the trainer at the Warriors. I don't know if he's even given them to Clay or given it to Draymond to wear with kinesio tape built in. If they haven't been given those, then that's really sad to me, because these can possibly help these guys. Why would you not try anything? I love the product myself. I wear them every time I'm playing pickleball. You could just go to the site and look at some of the testimonials by people and why, if those guys haven't had these on, to try them, to help them to not only to recuperate and stuff, or to help them get better, is beyond me. I don't know. That's very disappointing to me. I try to do the right thing, and I don't even know if these guys have even gotten them and given them to him. Draymond said he hadn't had them, and I sent them there specifically for him, and also for Clay and any of the other guys that could use these products. So that's a disappointing thing to me. It really is. I mean, God, just try anything in the world if it's not going to hurt you, to see if it can help make you better. I mean, your body is your livelihood. And if they're being withheld from them, then I think that's a disservice to them.
I 100% agree, and hopefully the Golden State Warriors get that message. Let Clay and Dre heal properly. Rick, people can follow you on all social media platforms at Rick24Barry. Any predictions for Saturday's nationally televised Warriors-Lakers game before we wrap things up?
Hopefully the Warriors will play a little bit better and come away with the victory with a struggling, obviously very much so, struggling team with the Lakers. One last thing, tell people to go to Pickleball Connections is where they should try to check that out. Just do Pickleball Connections and Zoom, not Zoom it, but on Google Pickleball Connections, and you should be able to get on that site. And there's an opportunity there, if you love pickleball, to become an ambassador, and you can make yourself some money with this amazing sport of pickleball. It's very special. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait till the school year ends. I'm going to be playing some pickleball myself, and I'm going to hit you up on that offer where you said you're going to direct me to where I can get the best paddles and the best equipment. It's the fastest growing sport in the country, as you've mentioned. And Rick, you are, to me, still the most underrated player in the history of this game. I feel like you're still incredibly misunderstood.
Yes? Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm probably one of the most misunderstood people, but it's so crazy.
I was about to say that too. Yeah.
But I find out things that I do. I just found out another thing that I didn't even realize that I had done, that they were talking about Doncic or something, that he's scored 45 points in a row or doing something age-wise and all. And it turns out that there's my name popping up again. I mean, back in our days, we paid no attention to that stuff. All we cared about who won, who lost, right? Who won, who lost.
Incredible. Your name is always popping up. It pops up everywhere. And
well, even with John
ESPN,
Morant,
NBA TV.
it popped up with John Morant doing something else and everything. And I go, every time I let my wife and I get such a kick out of it. I laugh and say, oh, well, let's put that on the list of things that I did that I had no idea I did. It's crazy.
Your career is incredible. And as an individual, sir, I mean, just to give people perspective, you and I worked together back like 2003 to 2005 or something like that. And you, every year, you would always call me on my birthday. We always stayed in touch. You wrote me letters of recommendation for my eventual professor jobs. You're just a class act. And I do agree that you're incredibly misunderstood. You're one of the most thoughtful, generous individuals I know. Your heart is huge, which always matters to me more than anything else. And
Cyrus,
I'm grateful to have you as a friend, sir.
stop this. You're going to ruin my reputation.
There you go. And we'll stop there. And we'll see you next week, folks. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone.